What's up, gamers? I'm Jhon, and welcome to Jay's Gameverse. Today, we're heading back to the golden era of PlayStation 1, a time when RPGs truly exploded into the mainstream. The PS1 gave us some of the most iconic, emotional, and groundbreaking role playing games of all time. These are my personal top 10 PS1 RPGs, ranked from amazing to legendary. Each one of these games left a mark on me and on the RPG community, and I can't wait to share why. Let's get started. Kicking off the list at number 10, we've got Final Fantasy Tactics. This wasn't your typical Final Fantasy. Instead of random battles and a world map, you got grid-based strategy combat that felt more like chess with magic and swords. The job system was incredibly deep, letting you mix and match abilities to create endless combinations of classes and party builds. But what really set Tactics apart was the story. It was darker, more political, and more mature than almost anything else on the system. Ramses' journey and his complicated friendship with Delita showed the kind of moral gray areas that were rare in games back then. Add in the tough but rewarding difficulty, and it's no wonder people still call this one of the best tactical RPGs ever made. It's a different flavor of Final Fantasy, but one that deserves to be remembered. At number 9, we've got Breath of Fire 4. Capcom might not be the first name you think of for RPGs, but this game proved they could stand alongside with the giants. The watercolor-inspired visuals gave it a unique look, and the story struck a balance between light-hearted humor and deeply tragic themes. The dragon transformations were the highlight. Every battle felt more epic when Ryu unleashed his power. But what really made this game special was its villain, Paolu. He wasn't just a one-note bad guy. He was sympathetic, complex, and his story left a lasting impression. Breath of Fire 4 might not have gotten the spotlight like Final Fantasy, but it's one of those PS1 RPGs that rewards anyone who gives it a chance with an unforgettable journey. Number 8 goes to Wild Arms 2. This game stood out right from the beginning, with its anime-style intro that's still buried into the memory of anyone who saw it. Wild Arms is special because it dared to mix Western cowboy vibes with traditional JRPG fantasy, creating a world that felt familiar and fresh. The sequel improved on everything. A deeper story? You got it. More engaging characters? You got it. And combat that felt refined? You definitely got that. On top of that, the puzzle solving in dungeons gave extra layer of gameplay variety. It wasn't just about fighting monsters, you had to use your brain outside of battle too. Wild Arms 2 may not have had the massive marketing of Square's hits, but for fans it became a cult classic that still deserves recognition till this day. Coming in at number 7, Parasite Eve. Square took a huge gamble here, combining survival horror with RPG mechanics, and the result was unlike anything else at the time. Playing as Ayabria, you weren't exploring medieval castles or fantasy kingdoms. You were fighting horrifying mutations in modern-day New York City. The real-time combat system kept you on your toes, and the game had the cinematic feel that made it stand out from other RPGs. The blend of science fiction, body horror, and personal drama created a tense, unforgettable experience. Parasite Eve showed that RPGs didn't need to be traditional to be impactful. And it proved that Square was willing to innovate in bold, risky ways. Till this day, fans still hold out hope for a revival of this one-of-a-kind series. At number 6, we have Suikoden 2. This is a game that RPG veterans constantly call one of the greatest of all time. And that's with good reason. The scale of Suikoden 2 was unmatched. 108 recruitable characters, massive army battles, and an intricate story full of betrayal, loyalty, and heartache. What makes it so special is that despite the huge scope, the story feels incredibly personal. The relationship between the protagonists, Joey, and Nanami is one of the most emotional in gaming history. And unlike many RPGs where choices don't matter, here your decisions could lead to drastically different outcomes. Suikoden 2 wasn't the biggest seller in its day, but over time, it became a legend. A must-play for anyone who wants to see what RPG storytelling can truly achieve. At number 5 is Chrono Cross. As the sequel to Chrono Trigger, this game had impossibly high expectations, but it dared to take a very different approach. Instead of just trying to copy its predecessor, it gave us a bold new adventure, with over 40 playable characters, each with their own flavor and abilities. The parallel world concept was ambitious, and it gave the story a unique edge, even if it left some players scratching their heads. What nobody can deny though, is that the artistry of this game, from the gorgeous visuals to the hauntingly beautiful soundtrack, which is still considered one of the best in gaming history. Chrono Cross was experimental, emotional, and unforgettable. It may be diverse, but its boldness is exactly what makes it so special. At number 4, we've got Legend of Dragoon. This game has one of the most passionate fan bases in RPG history, and once you've played it, you'll understand why. The Dragoon transformations turned every battle into a spectacle, as your characters donned their new legendary armor and unleashed devastating attacks. The story followed Dart and his quest for revenge, but it extended into an epic story about humans, winglings, and ancient conflicts. What made combat truly unique was the addition system. Time button presses that made you feel directly involved in every swing of the sword. The game wasn't perfect, but it had heart, style, and moments that fans still remember vividly. To this day, players are still begging for a remake, which shows just how deeply this one struck with people. Number 3 is Final Fantasy IX. This was Square's love letter to the series' origins, going back to high fantasy worlds after the darker, more modern tones of Final Fantasy VII and VIII. The cast of characters, Zidane, Garnet, Steiner, and especially Vivi, gave us the most heartfelt and memorable stories in RPG history. Vivi's struggle with identity and morality is still one of the most emotional arcs in the entire Final Fantasy series. The game's art style direction, charming world, and timeless soundtrack made it feel like a playable fairy tale, while still tackling surprisingly mature themes. For many fans, 9 is the perfect Final Fantasy game, a balance of nostalgia and modern polish, and it remains as one of the most beloved RPGs of all time. The runner-up at number 2, we've got the giant, Final Fantasy VII. This is the game that just didn't put RPGs on the map. It put PlayStation on the map. With its leap to 3D graphics, cinematic cutscenes, and an epic story that blended cyberpunk dystopia with fantasy, it blew players' minds in 1997. Cloud, Sephiroth, and Aerith became household names, and the game delivered one of the most shocking moments in gaming history. One that's still talked about decades later. The material system gave endless customization, making every playthrough feel unique. Final Fantasy VII wasn't just a game. It was a phenomenon that turned RPGs into a global force. Even if it's not number 1 on my list, its influence is undeniable and everlasting. And finally, at number 1, my personal favorite PS1 RPG and favorite game of all time, Xenogears. This game was pure ambition on 2 discs. It gave us a combat system that mixed martial arts combos with giant mech battles, creating gameplay loops that never felt stale. But where Xenogears truly shines is in the story. It wasn't afraid to tackle philosophy, psychology, and religion in ways no other RPG dared. It asked big questions about identity and fate and the human condition, all while delivering unforgettable characters like Faye, Ellie, and Graf. Yes, the second disc was rushed, but even with that flaw, Xenogears remains one of the boldest and most daring RPGs ever created. It's more than a game, it's an experience. And for me, it's the crown jewel of the PS1 RPG era. So that's my list of the top 10 PS1 RPGs of all time. What do you think? Did I nail it? Or did I leave out one of your favorites? Drop your top picks in the comments below. I'd love to see what makes your list. If you enjoyed this trip back to the PS1 era, hit that like button, subscribe for more, and join the community in Discord. And if you want to support the channel, check out the Gameverse merch store. All the links are down below. And as always, keep grinding, keep shining, and I'll see you on the next level.